Hey everybody, this is BoatsDon'tSink here with the Batman Ninja sort of sample deck lists. Since I didn't have this in my original video for it, I figured now that we have the restriction list, Grodd and the 3-2 Batman can't be played together. I don't have to make the decision of do I include them in my sample deck list or not, which makes this a lot easier for me. So yeah, let's move in and actually take a look at these deck lists. Don't want this to get too long. The first list I have here is just a blue weapon deck. I've played around a bit with the weapon deck, both with mono blue and blue red, and the red did not super impress me. So I've cut pretty much all the red here, apart from a couple of Alfreds that you see there. We're playing the Alfred Married Life, the 0/0 assist that gives 1,000 when you play a climax. This is mainly for our level 1 combo, just to make it big enough to reverse. It can make our early plays maybe big enough to kill an opposing early play at level 2, or just, get something over on power. The other Alfred, the Dutiful Butler, is a bond to our finisher, so it just gives us a little bit of extra help finding those. Since you can see we're only playing 6 level 3s, we don't really have a backup plan, other than just playing Batman Ninjas and going off. So this helps make sure that we always have like at least 2 of those ready to go. And with the rest ability, you can give 2,000 power and can't be chosen by your opponent's effects to the level 3, which is going to help you against decks with like anti-damage or rest counters or anything like that, so that they can't stop you as easily. 4 Brainstorm, just because we really want all the sort of card advantage and selectivity and mill that we can get in this deck. Our Brainstorm's a pretty big way of doing that. This deck has a surprisingly good amount of deck control, with like milling and being able to discard your climaxes and stuff like that. But Brainstorm is going to help us sort of push that a little further. The 500 power is also often relevant at level 0 when you're trying to just specifically get over certain lines. 4 of the Sengoku Batman because the card's really powerful. The mill 2 is good, giving 1500 when you mill 2 is good. If you hit a climax, it's not super consistent, but when it happens, you're definitely happy with it. We've got it's got pay 1, clock 1, salvage any weapon, so we don't have to worry about like only being able to get level 1 or lower even. I often find myself playing this card at like level 2 or level 3 just to add my restanders back to my hand in order to prepare for the end game. I'm playing 4 Bat Clan of Hida here. A lot of my lists prior to the restriction list played 3 Bat Clan with 4 Grodd. I've swapped those now since Grodd is less of a threat, and Bat Clan lets us do a lot of things, right? We can play Sengoku Batman aggressively early, and still be able to dodge reverses. We can bounce the Ancient Armor combo back to dodge reverses, which then lets us, play into our combo again next turn. Now that we're playing the level 1 Infiltration, we're able to bounce those. Which, card's not amazing, but being able to bounce it, deny more reverses, always great. The Backland of Hida is really just here as a powerful way to dodge our opponent's effects and save our more valuable characters with a level 0 that can serve as a beater if we need it. We're playing 3 Gorilla Grodd. I think the card is still really powerful, even without the level 3 available to it. And we are playing a couple of the level 1, just for those scenarios where our opponent is too small and we're able to bounce, play the level 1, and get both board advantage and a plus off of it. Though I don't think the level 1 is super necessary. It's not an amazing card. Gorilla Grodd, however, I think it still is a really good card. If you're not sold that the pay 1 plus is good enough, you can just play runners in that slot. You can even go like 4 runner, 3 Bat Clan if you want. Yeah, I think Grodd's still good enough, but I'm going to have to play around with it. It obviously loses a lot of impact when your opponent's not scared of the level 3. I have 2 of the Batman Back in Time, so more mill. This one gives itself power, unfortunately, which is a little worse than the Sengoku Batman. But the mill is helpful. The 3K, bumping it to 45, can help us kill a lot of things at level 0 if we need to. And the on attack, give a character 1,000, can help us kill a lot of things. So this is sort of just pressuring our opponent at level 0. It helps us tri-field early and win lanes. It can pump our level 1 combo just to be that tiny bit bigger. All these things are just, good reasons to have it. Though the Back in Time promo is probably one of the first things I would cut if I needed room for other cards. Especially since it puts us at like 21 level 0s. Like, there's plenty of room to work with there. 3 copies of Catwoman Back to the Present. I think this card might have actually been rated too low on my original top 10 list. This card has impressed me a lot playing it in games. The discard climax ability for 1,000 and on reverse draw a card is really strong when you have a lot of climaxes that can add more climaxes to your hand on trigger. She turns like your gate triggers, even if you don't want another climax in hand. She makes it to where you can just add one to hand, discard it, and get a different card off of it, which makes your pluses a lot more valuable. And when they also give her power, like, she can kill a lot of things. She's just inherently like 7k if you play her on a full board, and she can get to like 8k, 9k really easily and kill a lot of big walls. 2 of the Batman Infiltration, just because it's a 65 and Grodd can bring it in. If Grodd goes, these definitely go. These might go even if with Grodd staying in the deck. If they do go, they're probably like the extra, like maybe another healer, like a trial deck healer, so we can pump a little more power, or I don't know, just some other beater. Like, his downsides are really bad for a level 1 beater. Batman Ancient Armor. I've got 4 of the trial deck version here. If you have the demo deck version, you can very easily play like a 3-1 split, a 2-2 split, even a 1-3 split. I don't like cutting to 4 of the demo deck ones, just because the discard part is actually pretty relevant. Draw 2, discard 1 lets you dig, 1 card deeper per Batman. It lets you discard extra cards that you don't want in your hand, which a lot of times can be climaxes, especially since, like I said, both your triggers add climaxes, or one of them adds climaxes, one potentially adds climaxes. And when you trigger these, the Batman lets you turn them into other, probably more useful cards. So turning all of our low quality pluses into better cards is what a lot of this deck sort of focuses around. And we have a lot of low quality pluses to be turning into better cards here. You might be wondering, if I'm so concerned about low quality pluses, why don't I just play the Catwoman level 1 combo? And if BatClan didn't exist, I would definitely be playing it. Because I do think the Catwoman level 1 combo is just really good. Like, Search is good because it's so selective, right? But I kind of value the discard out here, and I definitely value being able to use BatClan to bounce the Batman Ancient Armor in order to play our combo again the next turn, or even just dodge reverse effects. But with Gate and drawing cards, you can often just sort of loop Batman level 1 combo for a couple turns. 2 of the anti-change counter, because early plays are a pain, and they're everywhere, and you need to threaten them, so we have anti-change counters. You pretty much always have enough hand to use the anti-change counter here, so being ditch 2 is actually really nice, because you're not spending extra stock on it. 1 copy of the Villain Batman Box Topper promo, kind of for the global, in case you're playing, in case you're playing your early play, you can make it like 11k, 11.5, depending on what your board state is. But being able to discard a climax to grab a different one also kind of helps, because late game you might just draw the wrong climax, or you might go for your Batman Ninja turn and get the draw trigger instead of the gate trigger. So that sort of like hand or climax fix utility is cool to have. 4 Batman Ninja, because this is our top end. It cantrips, it gets relatively big, and it restands even if it doesn't reverse anything. So it's uninteractive enough that we don't really need a backup plan, in my opinion. It's just better than all the other options weapon has. If you don't want to play the climax for it, and you want to go with like a different climax or like an empty comeback trigger or something, you'll have to go into like Red Hood and the trial deck Batman level 3. But otherwise, I think this Batman Ninja combo is just really good to have. Catwoman unimpressed. We're playing two because they're healers and they're early plays. Being a healer is usually more relevant than being an early play because I don't like spending a whole ton of stock in this deck. But sometimes, especially if your opponent has one that's easy to threaten, you can play this down and sort of swing back into them. Three Clandestine Connections because it's a card that we can draw that is, I guess, the thought that it's always better than just drawing the top card of our deck because now it's picking our draw from the top four if we draw into it. So rather than like getting a reverse and, or like say we're playing the demo deck combo and we attack and we draw one, we could just get a card, or we could get a Clandestine Connections, which lets us pick the best out of the next four cards. And I think that's fairly high quality compared to just drawing a card. It also gives us mill, which more mill is always good in this deck, especially in a deck where you can just accidentally be out a bunch of climaxes because of the way your triggers work. And then we're playing obviously 4 of the gates and 4 of the draws for our 2 combos. It's kind of a shame that red doesn't have a whole lot for the weapon deck. There's a level 2 Red Hood combo that's pretty decent, but it's on a red stock soul, so you'd have to fit a little more red just to be able to get stuff to stock. And that's a potential option either over the level 3 combo or over the level 1 combo. Though I think replacing the level 1 combo is a little worse of an idea now that the level 3 infiltration is gone. But yep, so that's the weapon deck. Moving on a little further, we have the green-red villain deck. So this one sort of follows the same sort of, I guess, general flow where you're like level 0s, and then you have your clock plus into your level 1 combo into early plays into finisher. Which is sort of like the most just generic flowchart deck, I guess. That's what Batman gave us, so, you know, what can you do? We're playing 2 of the discard climax to salvage and 2 of the drop searchers, because they're kind of our best discard outs if we need them, and they give us selectivity. Drop searcher's good because it can get us into more combos. It's good because it can get us anything we need later in the game. The Climax Ditch Salvage I don't think is as good, but it doesn't cost stock and still lets us get rid of extra treasures that get stuck in our hand or anything like that. 3 Primal Pleasures because mill 2, and it's kind of an oversize at 3k printed. And it's usually going to be able to kill like anything if you play it offensively at level 0. Because it can get up to like 4,000, 5,000. Even bigger if you have the Harley Quinn assist. So that is pretty strong. It kills a lot of things. You don't have to worry about your opponent's oversizes at least. And nothing like utility is going to be able to kill him. Like even Inazuma at 2,500 needs a Z3. Like 1,500 dudes and 2,000 power dudes just have to let him live. We've got 4 of the Harley Quinn because it is a selective plus into our level 1 combo. It's just our generic clock costed plus. It also gets relatively big at level 0 if we try to like tri-field and swing with it last. It can get up to like 3,500 on its own. So that's kind of relevant. It's mainly there for the clock costed plus though. Which it's nice. This clock costed plus works much better than the no game no life one. Since the no game no life one, if you try to bring your Sora 1-0 onto the board, you don't get the on play plus 1,500. Our level 1 combo in this deck, the plus 1,500 comes from playing a climax, so we still get that off of if we summon it off of Harley Quinn. Our brainstorms, we have 4 of the Harley Brainstorm. You can opt to play the Poison Ivy Castle here if you want, but I wanted a little more red in the deck, and I think the 500 assist is pretty good. And I honestly think searching is worth having in this deck, right? Like searching is better than salvaging in my opinion. You can choose to just play like the Catwoman Brainstorm if you want a brainstorm that only rests itself, since not a ton of things in this deck care about you actually having all villains on board. The 2/2 Harley that I'll get to does care. So it is going to make her significantly worse if you play the Catwoman Brainstorm. But for the rest of the deck, Catwoman doesn't have a specific trait that she salvages, so you can actually get all your villains off of her. But I think the search is good, and obviously I play 3 copies of the 2/2 Harley, so we want as many villains as possible here. We play 3 of the Catwoman cat-like reflexes because villains' actual plussing zeros suck, or rather they don't have any. Like Joker at 3K is your oversize, and Harley pay 1 clock 1 search is your only other plussing zero really. But you don't want to play Harley at 0 because then she can't search your level 1 combo. So I play 3 runners to sort of complement the 3 oversizes and try to get through level 0 with that. It's very possible that you cut like the 1065 Harleys for another oversize and another runner just so you have more level 0 plays. And since it's our only weapon character, we can just not play it later. Level 1 away, try to get them stuck in stock or whatever so we don't have them ruining our plan later. Joker the Final Showdown is our level 1 combo. It's on reverse if the climax is in play, salvage 1, give a character 1000. And he gains 1500 when we play a climax. And his climax is treasure, meaning we're going to have it in hand like marginally more often, which is good. It's sort of the same appeal that the Yuki combo has in Sword Art, but without the like search to thinning. It's Yuki without the best part of Yuki. But really, having a treasure trigger here, I think, does help a lot, especially if you're playing a lot of characters aggressively early. Giving 1000 to your next Joker means that they're hitting like the first one's 7k, the rest of them are 8k, plus any assists, which is probably big enough to reverse most things. If you need to be a little bigger, Harley Quinn Partner in Crime is on attack, give a character 1500, so you're now like 85 or 95 on your Jokers, which should definitely be big enough. And for anything that is too big, say you're playing against a standby deck that have like 1/1 Silicas or something, the Harley Quinn can just bomb them. So that's a cool sort of complement there, where Joker's going to feed on anything that's not really big, and then Harley finishes off anything that is really big. The Harley Quinn, Dr. Quinzel is just there, honestly. It's more costless dudes to be playing. It has Encore, so if we do have just like extra brainstorms or stuff sitting around, we can ditch them to keep our attacker. 65, it goes to 7k with a brainstorm behind it, which 107k is a good baseline, I think. You do have the downside on play, give a character 3000. Hopefully you're just able to give this to like a level 0 or something that you're going to kill anyway. Or worst case scenario, maybe you give it to the lane that you're going to crash your Harley 0 into. It's in other decks that have had this downside, it's not really been too big of a problem, so I'm hoping it's not here either. And hopefully like the Encore sort of outweighs that. And being 65, we do have counters at level 1, the Poison Ivy backups. So they are a 1500 backup and pay 2 and put a card from your hand into your waiting room to anti-change. So this is the sort of anti-early play tech that we're playing instead of like the Clock Bomb. We're just playing 2 of these. Because these make your opponent work for it on their own turn and aren't leaving us open. Which means that, even if we hit our opponent to level 2 first, we're sort of making them deal less damage or play around our counters, which is really powerful. Especially since one of the big things about early plays is that they do push extra soul damage, and we're kind of mitigating that by forcing them to side into our level 1s, if we threaten this counter even before we're at level 2. One copy of the Two-Face Castle. So Two-Face Castle, if it's in the left position of your backstage, all your other villains gain 1000, which is a reasonable power boost, especially since we have like 7 quote-unquote early plays. And then the other ability is when you play a climax, give a character 1000 until end of opponent's turn, which makes our guys really big. That's just kind of the goal, is to be big. This probably won't hit the board like super often, but it's there when you need it. And since our climaxes, since we have treasures, we're probably going to be slamming climaxes kind of frequently. The 2000 can let us get to like, or the like, yeah, 2000 power between both effects can put our jokers at like 9k, 10k, 10.5, maybe even like 11 at level 2. Meaning our Joker level 1 combo might still be threatening reverses against like early plays and stuff, which is sweet. Uh, it just means we're getting value out of like all of our cards throughout the entire game. 3 copies of the Harley Quinn Bombs Away. I think this card is super good and one of the like really good reasons to be playing villain. Since it gains 1,000 for each other villain character, meaning it's going to be 10-5 on a full board. And when you play it, if you have 4 or more other villains, you get to put a villain character from your waiting room into your stock. So it's a 2-1, 10-5, 2 soul beater. And that's a really good stat line to have. And it becomes like 11-5 if you have the 2-face castle, 12 with an assist. It just keeps growing, right? So it's kind of an early play on its own, right? And that's why I said earlier we have like quote unquote 7 early plays. If you do hit level 2 and you get to like field this in an early play Joker and threaten a Poison Ivy counter backing it up, like your opponent just can't do anything with their early plays against you, which is really sweet. Like who needs anti-change clock bombs when we have 12 fives and counters, right? 4 copies of the early play Joker. You might be wondering why we're playing like 4 of this and only 3 Harley Quinns when she's our finisher. But Joker, we kind of want to be early playing at 2 to just sort of keep an aggressive tempo. Because if we go like refresh timing, hit level 2, we can early play Joker into playing Harley Quinn to make a full board, which means we effectively get two soul beaters for 3 stock, which is a lot of like that's the rate that Sunshine plays at and the rate that Gun Gale plays at. It's a little worse than the rate that like Konosuba or Apocrypha play at, but it's still like two soul beaters for 3 stock and being able to back them up with counters and both of them be big. And one of them does cantrip as well into a check top X, which is probably going to be like 4 if we're doing this ideally in like an optimal order. Which lets us get into climaxes, which means our 2-face castle makes things even bigger, or even without 2-face castle, we might get to like combo again with our level 1. The Joker is like 11k, which is the Joker is, fun fact, like the biggest power early play check top X in any language. Most of them are like 10k or 10.5. Joker is 11, which is really big. 11 means he goes to like 12-5 with a counter, not counting your assists. Your counter's an anti-change anyway, so you probably just like win if you pull it off. Yeah, Joker's a really good card. We play 4 because we want to early play him, but if we early play him, he might die. He is really big, but there's still things that can kill him, right? And we also need him on board for our finisher. So we play 4 so that in case we play one and it dies, we have the biggest chance possible of getting another one to play again. 2 Poison Ivies because sometimes we're just not going to get like double Harley combo or whatever. Whether we don't have the stock or don't have the Harleys or something. And Clock Kick is guaranteed damage, which is kind of good. Like even if we do have access to double Harley, maybe the Clock Kick is what makes our damage numbers better. She's 10k base, gains 1500 if you have another villain. Spoiler alert, we're always going to have another villain. So she's 11.5 base, and Clock Kicks during the turn she's played. The Harley Quinn level 3 heals, and on attack, if you have the Climax and Joker, which is specifically the Joker early play, pay 2, ditch 1, deal 4, this gains 3k until end of turn. Meaning it's like 14 minimum. It's going to kill whatever's across from it, which is real cool. Means your opponent never really gets a second finisher turn unless they're Tolovru and encore their characters. 4 is kind of big, but I think this is still better than the 2-face level 3. I think so. The 2-face level 3 is on attack, pay 2, ditch 1, check top card of deck, and if it's villain character, deal X, where X is the soul of the card you reveal. It's the same cost, pay 2, ditch 1. It just means that you get to play an empty climax, which I don't know what climax you'd actually play other than maybe the green stock soul, since your climaxes are kind of really good already. But yeah, it does require less board setup. They both heal. This is kind of our only healer. Climaxes are treasure and comeback, which is a really good plussing lineup, I think, because one of them gives you combo consistency, the other one gives you card advantage that's selective. So you can hopefully always build these really powerful board states that we're looking at. And villain can build like just actually really powerful board states. So I really like it. Another option, if you are looking to sort of go a more defensive route, is like the 1/1 7/5, like effective 7/5 Joker. He has some condition for power, but he gets really big and has the like, if you have no other rested characters in your center stage, pay 1 rest of this at Encore step sort of way to save himself, which a lot of Joker cards have. There's a 0, 1, and 2 that all have that. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. That's sort of everything I've got on these decks. I just have the 2. There's also like the castle deck and the monkey deck and a couple other things, but I don't think those are super complicated to build. Monkeys has me interested as an advantage engine, but I've not really worked out exactly how I'd want to go about doing that to make it really strong yet. If I do, maybe you'll see that in the future. But for now, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.